this year we mark the 100 years anniversary remembrance for the Chinese Immigration Act, but it also called the Chinese Exclusion Act. And this act has bring a terrible impact on the Chinese people and during the Chinese laborer who helped to build the Canada Pacific Railway. Tremendous hard work and sacrifice on the Chinese laborer, and is unfairly being treated for this act. If you could remember, during that time, British Columbia has only about 35,000 people living in the province. And just the Chinese laborer they brought into Canada to help to build the railroad, that's almost 17,000 people. So you can see the ratio at that time of the number of Chinese that was very important in terms of population, and the help they contribute during the time, to build that Canada Pacific Railway. So you cannot deny the contribution of the Chinese that were there to help. But the whole thing is that when the railway was finished, you don't see any more shadow of the Chinese. You don't see talk about the contribution of the Chinese. And according to the statistic, there are thousands of Chinese sacrifice their life building the most difficult time of the railway, which are the local white people are not willing to do. That is why Chinese hard labor was brought in from China to do the most difficult, the most dangerous job, that building the railway on the most difficult sector of the Canadian Pacific road. And this is something that it was forgotten when the time it comes with the Exclusion Act, and Chinese was totally forgotten, and I would say badly, not well treated as for their contribution to Canada. As everybody knows that 100 years, exactly 100 years, by next month. And what happened now? Because of geopolitical reasons, now you can see suddenly we are going back to history for the past 100 years. That what happened, 100 years ago, it was what it started and what the Chinese was treated. And today's geopolitical reason, it seems that we are going backward. So this is very important for the 100 years anniversary, that we have to remember what happened 100 years ago, and we will never allow history to be repeated again. So this is crucial time for the country to be aware, not just the Chinese race or any other race, but I would say as a country in Canada, we should remember the mistake made 100 years ago. It should not and never to be happen again for the next generation. And now China, over the 100 years, Chinese has contributed a great way, to this country on every sector. If you can walk down Toronto, walk down any city in Canada, whether it's small township or big city, you can see Chinese contribution now are into every level, from finance, banking, medical, research, and even today, we are still undernumbered in political career. So I would like to see more young people have the courage and come out, and participate. You love this country, let's drive forth and build Canada a better country. I think it's also a coincidence that 100 years later, we have COVID-19, we have the pandemic, we have, war, political geo uncertainty, and I think it's important. This is the important time to call everybody to come out. Whether you are Chinese or whatever happened to us could be happened to anyone. Could be happened, in the country as a whole. So I would say it's now very important that everybody must pay attention to mark this 100-year anniversary. And now we have also invited the Governor General, Mary Simpson, to join us to mark this important 100 years anniversary. Because this is not just a problem or anything that to the particular race or particular people, or area, but that happened 100 years ago. It was picked on a particular race and a particular country and a particular region. So I say this is probably one of the best time. We have invited important top government leaders to join us to mark this 100-year anniversary. And because this 100 years ago, it was happened in the Senate of Canada. And Senator William Powell and myself are both current senator of today in the Senate chamber. We think it's even more important that we got to make this awareness to everyone in Canada. Whatever happened 100 years ago in the Senate chamber should not be happen anytime or near future, whatever. And these things should be in the history. We learn, that is why we learn from history.